Hi, welcome to our Social Security Disability blog. I'm Natalia, Jofre, the Social Security Director here at Ponton.
And I'm Shelly. I'm the Senior Social Security Attorney.
So we've been talking about things that can negatively impact your case, and we've now been talking about working, and we talked about working, what's considered substantial gainful employment, sheltered work, and now we're going to talk about an actual little bit of a hot topic.
Right. Yeah. It seems to have happened to a few clients recently, right?
Yeah. Well, one of yours was real recent.
It's very recent.
But we have encountered a problem where sometimes a claimant will work. Will you explain it? Like spousal.
Yeah, it's confusing because what happens is the claimant is alleging from the onset that they have not worked, and we've taken them on their word for that. And then, like we had talked about in one of our other blogs, right before the hearing, we get an updated earnings record. And there's nothing that we can really force to get that any more quickly, or believe me, we would, because we don't like surprises. But once that's updated, sometimes the earnings will show.
Yeah.
And so everyone should understand that these earnings records are pulled based on your Social Security number.
Right.
So we've had multiple clients come and say, well, they're not really my earnings. My spouse was using my social, or my boyfriend was using my social to put their earnings down for, I can only imagine, but various reasons. And we have to tell them, those are your earnings. That's your earnings record, and those are your earnings.
And then how are you going to explain that in a hearing? It's like, that's fraud.
It's fraud.
So if you don't know, that is fraud.
Right.
And you are defrauding the government. Your Social Security number is intended for you and you alone to use for everything and anything, most especially earnings, because by the same token, I mean, we've had some situations where like, well, why wasn't your spouse working under their own Social Security number? Oh, because they owe money to the IRS.
Exactly. There's always a reason, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're defrauding the government. You don't want them to know that you're either working or making money so they can't take the money. And if, so you can't then go into a hearing and explain that and say, well, it's not really mine, because then they're going to be like, okay, well, that's fraud. So now they're going to either go after your husband or go after you because you allowed them to do this.
Right. In the last hearing that we had, the judge simply told the claimant that we're going to withdraw your request for hearing so that I don't have to ask you any further questions as to why you have someone else using your Social Security to claim their earnings. Because there's always an issue. It's usually taxes, child support, or something. There's a reason that they're trying to avoid garnishment, usually.
I can probably assure you that they will have some anonymous, all of a sudden, somebody's going to show up investigating. Either they're going to get an inquiry from the IRS or someone, because, I mean, once it's on record and they're alerted to fraud, they're going to investigate you. They're going to come after you and look into that. I had a case years ago where this woman worked for her husband, but yet because she was trying to say that she was entitled to Social Security because she worked for him. She was really kind of just assisting him because he was having a hard time working, but yet they didn't pay into Social Security tax for her because there was so much gray.
Right.
But then it was like, oh, well, if I could have paid into, let me go and pay all of that now. But then they were trying to like play it both ways. So it was like, okay, I'm going to pay into Social Security now so that I can get the earnings quarters, but I really wasn't working. I mean, you got to make a decision.
Right.
Like if you're working, you should be working on the books and paying your Social Security tax.
Right.
And if you're not working, or if you're trying to claim your need to be disabled, then you shouldn't be working at all.
Right. Exactly.
So if you ever think that you can do that stuff and that Social Security is not going to find out about it, or that you can still claim for benefits, or that you can, it always catches up with you.
Always. And like we talked about before, the IRS and Social Security may be a little bit behind, but they always do find out.
And they communicate. Yeah. Like people, I've also had this happen where they think they're going to get their check. Social Security really doesn't check with anyone prior to paying you. Like they'll ask you for information, but like with long-term disability, they're going to pay you. You figure it out with your insurance company. Workers' comp, they're going to ask you for the information. Once they have it, they're going to process your benefits. They're going to pay you if they feel like they need to pay you or not if they don't. The only organization that they actually check with before sending you any kind of check, whether it be your monthly or your past due benefits, is the IRS. They will make sure that you don't owe them any money before they pay you. And if you do, they're going to garnish it. They're going to garnish it either from your monthly check or your past due benefits check.
Definitely.
So it always catches up with you.
Always.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Yeah, real bad.
Very bad.
All right. So thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to call our office or visit our website.
Thank you.